But when he went to pay for it, he nearly went through the ceiling because it was expensive. Woo! Well, he was walking down the road after he paid for it, and he was thinking, you know, I could make some money out of it. So he traveled down to Texas where the land terrapins roam wild, and he hired himself some turtle boys, and they herded up a whole bunch of turtles. The idea was to drive them across the prairie from southern Texas up to Abilene where the railroad was. And they could send them off to Kansas, New York, all over the place. He would make a lot of money. Now, there were a few problems. Driving them up to Abilene was a long way, and a turtle can make about 2 or 3 miles in a day. At that rate, it was going to take them till Christmas 20 years from now. But Grandpa just saw dollar signs in his eyes. He was going out there, and they were driving those turtles as hard as they could, and they was roping them. And have you ever tried to rope a turtle? It ain't easy. And they bed them down at night and sing them songs to keep them quiet, to keep them from stampeding. They sing things like, as I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I saw a young turtle boy wrapped up in white satin. Well, they would sing to him all.
There was no out and out fierce love between them, only he had an empty house and she was tired of America. They got married and made back, and they made history, for they were the first couple from that quarter to go away on a honeymoon. After they got off the train inside Limerick station, the wife said to him, they're all looking at us. They must know very well we're fresh from the altar. I wonder, said she to him, is there anything we could do to make it appear we're a couple of years married? Yeah, he said, of course there is. Take a hold of that bag there and walk on it from today. When they came back from the honeymoon, she brought in the carpenters and the masons, and she renovated the house. Putting into effect ideas she saw work. Concrete paths all around the house and down to the wicket gate. A monkey tree here and a monkey tree there. Ah, she was used to the good things in America, where she was a lady's companion, wintering in New York and summering it in the spring falls. She was full of airs and graces which she tried to transfer to the blacksmith. She was always correcting his speech, even though to the speech of the Lord Palliative, and it sounded all right to you and me. Full of fops and flies and witches and fires. My woman, but the man's grammar was tutored, saying things like he-hog and she-hog. Well, she gave him such a drilling about he-hog and she-hog that the poor blacksmith thought hog was a word that shouldn't be used in front of children. I remember distinctly to the fall of the year, and the men were on their way down to Mass, and one of them said to him, have you the hair saved up here with? Oh, we has. Indeed we has. And we hasn't it saved? No, we never has. But there was a station mass published for the blacksmith that evening. To the wife, she was delighted that the station was coming, for it would be an opportunity for her to show off to the priest and to the people the inside of her house, and it would also be an opportunity for her to show off all the curious fiddles she brought back in the trunk from America. It was going to be a big day, but she wasn't going to have it ruined by the awkwardness of her husband. So training was the answer. Well, the poor blacksmith, he used to hate to see the sun going down in the evening, for it meant home to night school. The minute he get inside the door, he had to get out of his old duds, wash and scrub himself, and get into his conversation suit. Yes, father, and no, father. You see, he being the man of the house, he took his breakfast below in the room of the parish priest. So she took him down and she showed him how to sit at the table and to have his manners. Everything had to be up the knocker, to the knocker, past the sugar and past the milk. And she gave him a tight warning. no court conversations is she in the presence of the priest.
Kitchen. You said you got up and put them outside the door and you slept sound till morning. That's right, said Malachi. And when I went out in the morning, hadn't some villain and swept. But I was awful fond of that slag. A few discreet coughs greeted the last summer. Getting back to the Tufts of O'Neill, will you buy a few loads? You ever know, said Malachi, I have that big ash tree that the storm knocked down the orchard last year. And with a smaller, the tush I'll be roasted out of the house of the winter. But you will buy a load or two sauce, said Lynch, he having tough for sale himself. You have not at all, said Malachi. I've got some already, and by the end of next week I'll have all that I need. That's great, said O'Neill, is it dry? A bit mixed, said Malachi, but you'd expect that way, and getting it. Is that so, O'Neill? Said O'Neill, how do you mean? Come outside and I'll show you, said Malachi, lighting his storm lantern. That's my tough for the winter, he said to his friends who had followed him out into the orchard. Beside the hedge under the apple trees, Tough was squatted over a wide area. His friends looked around in amazement. "'Tis like manna from heaven," said Lynch. "'Tis indeed," said O'Neill. But Moses had no need of Tough. "What's up there?" said Murphy, who was looking for a logical explanation to the apparent miracle. As he viewed the object hanging from the clothesline suspended between two apple trees, they all looked up to where Murphy was pointing. "Is that what I think it says?" says O'Neill, as he studied the coloured object hanging from the line by the handle on its side. "It is indeed," said Malachi. "That's the bait from my trap. My late wife won that years ago at Listowel races, but she thought it was too colourful to use it for the purpose for which it was made, so she set a geranium in it. That died off a couple of years ago and it has gone from post to pillar ever since. I remember the way we used to be pelting up."
In Ballybun after a great summer, and they were on tour to Tralee, to the roads of Tralee. And Lord Peter God, did the magician go on to Ballyduff get half of him? He was a small man, but they all said, whatever kind of a fellow he had a ferocious appetite. And he'd go into this restaurant anywhere, and you know, you look at the menu on the way to St. Albans, tell you, the soup of the day is such a thing. And Jesus, one soup of the day, asparagus. And of course the magician trying to make headway, he drinks about 4 bowls of soup. For the last one. 4 bowls of soup. He was about 5 minutes out the road when he ran down through him to pour out even. And would you blame it after drinking 4 bowls of soup? So they were en route to Tralee anyway, and they arrived in Tralee, and then he tell you the story now to be true. When they arrived in Tralee, Tom Duffy said, "How are we going to have a circus without a magician?" He was saying, "What are we going to do?" So what did he do anyway, Tom Duffy? But he got a placard and he went back out the road again and he stuck it down on the side of the road, "Magician urgently required." That was his farm, and his wife was after finishing the harvest, and they were going into Tralee to buy a bit of jaws. And you remember the kind of passing the signs on the road, and he said to the wife, "Then the magician went to for Duffy." He said, "She said, why?" She said, why? He said, "I'm not too bad myself with that." She said, "I see you know magic yet." So on and so forth anyway. The next thing, old man, he wouldn't be at rest until he went up to Duffy's. He went up and talked to his story, and then Duffy came over and said, "You're looking for a magician?" "I am," he said. "I'm looking for a magician," he said. "My man," he said, "is after taking in." He said, "It was magic," he said, "I have plenty magic in me." He said, "Plenty magic," he said. I said, "Well, look, give me a small bit of a demonstration." "I will," he said. "No problem, one. About a table," he said. "Bring out a table." He brought out a table and he put the wife up on the table. She was a big corporation woman now. And you know, when you put something heavy for those 4 legs, the legs of the table were going like that, shaking in and out like that. They were like the legs of a book. They were going like that. And the next thing, the car went off to the roof of the car, and he brought out a bushman saw. And he said to Duffy, "You look now," he said, "and see what I can do." There he was, sawing away, the wife just above the hips. And as he was sawing her, she was looking for a smoke as well. Making sure to be sure. And God knows Duffy was getting completely carried away with it anyway. And again he said to one of the trapeze, he said, "Come out here," he said, "we'll see what's going on here." He said, "I have it better than the man we have ourselves. I have a real magician here," he said. And he's sawing away, and he saws through. She herself was laughing away, smoking her flag for all she was. He said, "It was magic in the family." "I have," he said. "Plenty of it," he said. "I have 2 half-brothers and a half-sister at home."
The newsletter there while you got your foot up. And I said, "I will, no problem." And I said, "I'd be delighted to do that, Father." But I said, "Could I ask you a favour in return?" And being the Kerry woman as I am, And he said, well, you must be from Kerry if you're asking me a favour. And I said, yes, I have a little favour to ask you. I said, you've got a lovely big parking lot over there, haven't you? And I said, would you lend it to me, maybe for a couple of days, maybe in a couple of months' time? He said, no problem, I'd be delighted to. He said, but what is it for? And I said, well, my brother is a filmmaker, and they're coming to Kennington, which is the south of London, and they're going to be filming by night for a period of, I'd say, 10 days. But they only need the parking lot for about 5 nights. Well, 5 days really, to park their vehicles, which is a Cadillac, a bus, a big truck, but not big enough, but at the same time, they need a bit of space to actually put these vehicles in. He said, no problem, he said, you just do all these newsletters for me and I will give you this parking lot. So that's fine. No problem there, is there?
No.
No. So far so good. So far so good. I did the newsletters. In the meantime, Princess Diana died, but that was fine, you know, we all know about that, we all know where we were at that particular moment. But I remember I had the knee up and I was there typing these newsletters for Father Fitzgerald across the way in St. Margaret's Church. My brother, in the meantime, was on the phone to me and saying, is everything all right about that car park? Because we really need this car park. And I said, yes, everything is fine. Father Fitzgerald is very happy to oblige. And he said, great, okay, camera, what you call it, camera lens, camera action, right? So off they went, they arrived over in the ferry, they started shooting their film in Kennington, and then on the Monday morning, I went over to the church and I said, knocked on the door, my foot was better at this stage, I was in a crutch, knocked on the door, waiting to see Father Fitzgerald, and I said, the guys are coming now at about 12 o'clock and they're waiting to come in with their parking. The catch was, it wasn't Father Fitzgerald, it was Father White. And I said, oh my God. And I said, oh, Father White, oh, hello, how are you? And I hadn't seen Father White in about 2 years, and I remember him very well because he was a very cantankerous man. And he said, oh, it's you. He said, what's your name again? I said, yes, my name is Grania. And I said, are you okay about the truck and my brother's vehicles? What truck and vehicles? And I said, well, Father Fitzgerald would have told you about it. He's on his holidays and I'm here now for 2 weeks minding his place. And he didn't tell me anything about trucks and things. And I said, well, it's about the film, you know, the film, and they're doing the film at night, so they won't be here. It's only just the trucks. And it's only just one truck, and it's just one van, and it's one car. And he said, film? No, there's no film happening here. And he just went berserk. And I said, now my brother arrived. In the meantime, they were all driving in to the car park. And there was this priest with steam literally coming out of his ears.
But there's 1 or 2 stories that I told the other day, and I've had a request. So I've been sitting there wondering what story to tell, but then I had a request, so that's the story I'm going to tell. I'm going to tell a story about a wee boy called Bobby McGregor. Now, Bobby McGregor lived in a wee town called Drumnadrochit. Now, Drumnadrochit is on the shores of Loch Ness. Loch Ness. It's a big, big loch in the Highlands of Scotland. And maybe some of you have heard of it before. Have you heard of Loch Ness? And maybe you've heard of who lives in Loch Ness. Have you heard of who lives in Loch Ness? Well, I'm going to tell you the true story of the Loch Ness Monster. Then you'll know all about it. You'll know the truth. You see, back a few, I don't know, maybe it was beginning of the last century. There's another loch near Loch Ness, over the hill. And living in that loch was a Kelpie. Now, do you have Kelpies over here? Kelpies live in water, they live in rivers, they live in lochs, and they're very dangerous. You have to be very careful of Kelpies. The thing about Kelpies is they come out of the water and they've got usually a magic bridle, and when they put on the magic bridle, they transform into a beautiful horse. Now, this kelpie that lived in the loch over the hill from Loch Ness had a problem. He had an allergy. You know what that is? He was allergic to fish. He couldn't eat fish. What was he to do? He had to come out of the loch and find something else to eat. So he ate the little boys. Because it was far too nice to eat little girls. That wouldn't be nice at all. So one night he'd been eating up all the boys in Drumnadrochit. And now there was only Bobby McGregor left. Well, Bobby McGregor was coming home from school one day. Poor Bobby McGregor, dragging himself home. He'd a boring day, had nobody to play with because all the other boys had been eaten and he didn't play with girls. And he was coming home. What's blocking his path but this beautiful looking horse? With a beautiful mane and a saddle.
Look at you, still carrying up Dev. Away you go and get ready. You cannot come down for it and eat at the table of Christmas. God, it shouldn't be hard to make it in time for 11 o'clock Mass. Nah, if they change the time to 11:30, it's the exact same story. None of you ever seem to worry. None of you in this house ever have any heathen time. A pack of heathens. Mickey Creania, he's away down the road. And so's Laura McCann with her carload. They'll have time to stop for their fruits and columns and their papers and melons. I'd like to get in and get my seat, the third step of the stairs, and get saying a mouthful of prayers before that at Granny's grave. Is your combing hairs and brushing teeth there? You ought to be in the chapel by now. Josephine, not plucking at your eyebrow. Jump and choosing. Jump right into the car. There'll be nobody looking at you. What's the sense of only walking through the chapel door when the priest's walking out onto the altar? You'd like to get in through the church gate and get leaning your ass against the wall. Have a yarn up at the football and maybe smoke a lot of butts. You'd like to chat to a few fellas and hear some bit of news. Who's dead, who's not dead. Who's sick in bed, who's not sick in bed. Who bought at the mart, who's sold at the mart. Yous aren't allowing for the military by night stopping. Maybe the British Army, maybe the EDR. Or who's to say you wouldn't get a puncture, a thorn in the tyre of your car. I lifted a big lump of glass off that road the other day. It's getting a tara late and you're forgetting there's gates, 3 gates on. The top gate, the postman's gate, and the pawn gate, out the lane too.